Wow. Well, Susan, thank you. I am humbled and deeply appreciative of this award. I really believe that individuals in elected office should be focused on one thing and one thing only. That is serving the folks that have placed their trust in them. And that includes reaching out and doing the things necessary to be effective. And I believe the effectiveness of a leader is directly related to the folks in the community. They're using their leader as a conduit to get those things done. These jobs are about getting things done. You know, today's world, we hear a lot of rhetoric back and forth. You know, I tell folks it should be less about words and more about action. And the reason that we've had such a great relationship, and will continue to have a great relationship with the Fredericksburg Chamber, is because each and every one of you have been incredibly impactful in what you do in your businesses, what you do in the community, and then in turn, what you do to help us be an effective leadership team. I have a great team. Catherine's here from our office. Where's Catherine? There she is. Joe Schumacher and others. You know, I have a great team, and it's never an individual. I always tell folks, my name may be on the ballot or maybe up on the wall, but folks, it's not one individual. It is not me. It is the folks on my team. It's the folks in the community that I think make a leader effective. And I wouldn't be, I think, effective without the incredible efforts that Chamber has put forward to make sure that we have those opportunities, that we understand what's happening in the business community, whether it's Leadership Fredericksburg, whether it's the opportunity to hold these forums, to bring in leaders, to make sure they understand what's happening in Fredericksburg and what you need from your government. And that's the wonderful thing about this government in our nation, is that it's not a government that is of the leaders that you place in that position of trust, but this is your government. And each and every day, it should be reflective of your needs and the things that need to be done on your behalf. And if you want to today, you know, you can look at all the things that are around us and focus on the things that divide us. And I don't like that. I don't think that's what our nation is about. There's so many other things that we have in common, so many things that bind us together that we ought to be focusing on. And that is exactly what the Chamber does each and every day, is to find those things that bring people together, find those things that make our community stronger, find those things that make our Commonwealth stronger and our nation stronger. That's what makes the Fredericksburg Chamber, I believe, one of the most effective chambers, not just in the Commonwealth, but across the nation. And you see today, a room full of individuals. Each and every one of you care. You care deeply about your community. You care deeply about what happens. And that in turn is reflected in what you share to us so that our team can be an effective leadership team to reflect your will and your interest in Washington. And again, it's easy today to listen to all the noise and all the rhetoric and say, gosh, things aren't going well in Washington. And from day to day, folks, there's some days I get pretty frustrated with what's happening there. But ultimately, those things get done, and they get done because of the incredible direction and leadership and the care and passion that you have for your community and your Commonwealth. And I'll close with this. You know, the nation today is indeed divided, and eventually we get the things that need to be done. I won't tell you that the path is easy, but I always like to reflect on the words of Winston Churchill. And Churchill, as you know, at the time when he replaced Neville Chamberlain, was at a very, very tumultuous time for Great Britain as they fought the evils of Nazi Germany. And it was touch and go, as we know, and they were desperate to have the United States help. And Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt had a very close relationship, and Churchill would get on the phone constantly to Roosevelt saying, Franklin, you gotta help us, you gotta help us. And Franklin would say, or President Roosevelt would say, Winston, I would help you, but the Congress has tied my hands. They say that we have to remain neutral in this. And he said, I can't do anything. And Churchill said, well, can't you at least send us some military equipment? And he said, they've tied my hands there too. He said, the only thing that I can do is, he says, I can't give you anything using mechanical means. He said, so the best I can do is I can bring some B-25 aircraft up to the border and I can push them across, and then you can come and receive them. And Churchill, in his typical dry wit way, and sarcastically said, "Gee, Franklin, thanks a lot." But as you know, after the attack at Pearl Harbor, the United States did become involved because they knew what was happening around the world, that they had to stand up against that evil. And after that day, Winston Churchill said these words. He said, "The United States is the greatest nation the world's ever known, and it always does the right thing after it's exhausted every other possibility." Folks, there are times when I believe in Congress that we exhaust every other possibility, but we ultimately get the right thing done. And the reason we get the right thing done is because of the incredible leadership and direction that you provide, not just to our office and our team, but also to others here in Virginia, the Commonwealth, whether it's from the governor to our lieutenant governor, our attorney general, to our members of the legislature, to our congressional delegation, and for that matter, to the executive branch in Washington. You have been incredible in providing that leadership and direction. And I believe that leaders in elected office are only as effective as the efforts that the community they represent place and expectations of responsibility for those elected leaders. So folks, it is indeed my honor to accept this award, but this award is not about me. It's about you, and it's about all the folks on our team that make the things happen that need to happen for this nation. And sometimes after a long, arduous path, those things do indeed get done. Folks, thanks again. I wish each of you God's blessings. May God continue to bless our great Commonwealth of Virginia. May God bless our United States of America.